What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and we have some fantastic stuff today. We're going to be looking at 7, not 6, not 8, 7 wonderful trade ideas for the end of May. Again, these are just ideas. These are just my thoughts and my opinions. Things can happen, whatever. We don't have a crystal ball. Just be very careful out there. These are just ideas to kind of give yourself a second look or a different perspective on some stocks. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. First one on the board is Walmart. That's WMT for you folks there. This one has been pretty beaten up compared to a lot of other things. It had a kind of a crazy week. The earnings was kind of flat. The online was great, their curbside was fantastic, but this thing has been trading sideways. I think this thing is ready to spool up and pop to the long side, so full disclosure, we are actually long Walmart in this trade. Again, you can kind of see the outlines. If it breaks around a little bit below 121, 120, we have to get out. And then the goal for this potential pop up higher is around 130 to 133. That being said, everyone knows we use the moving averages here, so the 5, 8, and 21 are really tightly squeezed, almost wound up, ready for like a spring to pop higher or lower. The RS or the parabolic SAR dots are below it, so it could be a potential support. It has held the 34 exponential moving average in the past, which is the orange dotted line or dashed line. I was corrected before. So that's for the bull case, is to pop up higher. Of course, for the bear case is when the 5 and 8s are crossing through the 21 and we start seeing printing lower prices. Again, Walmart's going to be tied to the overall economy of things. So that being said, just be mindful of that. And these are just, again, opinions and some trading ideas to look at for some charts. Long term, we can kind of see here like the support we're looking at is at around 120, 121, which is the 21 exponential moving average on the weekly chart. It has been just trading sideways, looking for a potential break higher or lower. That's the play that we're currently looking at. Again, still looking at the moving averages are nicely stacked on the weekly chart. We have the 5, 8, and 21 really neatly stacked, looking for it to kick higher. That is some other terms we're looking at is the RSI is somewhat flat. We need that to kind of kick up, and then with the volume oscillator down here, it needs to kind of break through the yellow line to get to the white and then potentially to the green to give the enough momentum on the top chart here to break around the 130, 133 level. So that'd be a nice little swing trade there. Next one, I don't highly recommend, but this is gonna be long and short ideas. This is gonna be a short idea with an NIO, that's the Tesla of China, looking for a short. We are seeing some capitulation here. We're seeing the 5 and 8 potentially trying to cross to the 21. We see the tick is very close, literally gonna tap the parabolic SAR dots. So if it does tap it, the parabolic SARs will go on top, so meaning downward pressure. It is still below its 200 exponential moving average. So what we want to do here is be very mindful so especially when I short something, I want to be keeping on a very short leash, no pun intended. We're looking for, if it breaks above and closes above the 200 exponential moving average, we want to get out. I don't let these things run very much. Again, because of short positioning, you can get pretty much creamed in. And I don't like to get creamed in that kind of sense. So you can kind of see here what we're looking at. We're looking for a break for the potential short to pay off is around $2.92 or 91 cents, lack of a better words. That's on the 4-hour chart. We can pop this over to the daily chart, and that kind of represents that as well. This thing has just been kind of beaten up. Again, this stock has been trading back and forth, left and right, left and right. We can look here on the weekly chart. The weekly chart has just been kind of trading sideways, but for the longer term of just trading down. We could call this trading potentially building a base, lack of a better words, but I think there's going to be a little bit more pressure involved. We do have earnings, which is kind of the fearful thing aspect within this trade is why I want to keep on a short leash. I want to see if they have options for this week. They have plus or minus 62 cents. again, oops, man, I just did that. 62 cents. So that can be, it's not going to be that much of a mover. That's going to break it below the $3 potentially down to the lower price target we have, and then again breaking above the higher price target. This is going to be kind of a lot of overhead resistance due to the 200 exponential moving average has failed multiple times. We have seen on earnings it has popped off potentially multiple times, but we know earnings, if you watch this channel quite a bit, it's complete coin flip. So just be mindful of that. It could be a hit and miss there, looking for some potential further downside. That is my opinion, again, my own opinion. Looking for potential downside. We're currently not into that position yet. Then let's move to Costco. I don't want to purchase any shares of Costco right now. Thank you. Looking at Costco, this thing has been a lot of headwinds, especially if you're here in the United States. It's been kind of hit and miss. It's been like a go-to store. They also have earnings coming out this week. If you're not familiar, BJ had a fantastic quarter as well, popping off quite a bit. I think Costco can kind of follow that. So what we're doing here is a long, I'm not in this currently. We were in it. We rode this move up, and then kind of traded sideways. And once it broke, we got out. It's kind of still below the 21. So if it breaks the 21 and closes above it, again, this is a much more expensive stock, literally 100 times more than the NIO, because we're talking, this is a $300 stock compared to $3. So just be mindful of that and use your capital association with that properly. Again, we're looking for the support down here around the 200 exponential moving average. So we're going to do that at or below. Again, with earnings on the horizon, which is the 28th, what I believe is Thursday. Yep, so Thursday, is it after the market close? Okay. So after the market close, we're going to look here at plus or minus, let's just call it $14, so $13.80. So $14 from here would be at 316, which be putting it up right around this level here, which would be quite hilarious because that's exactly where the parabolic SAR or the SAR dots are. So we're going to create that there, and then for the downside, it's going to basically come into right about the 290 to 289 level, which again, it could pop through, but we're looking for the 200 exponential moving average to come in for support. I kind of wanted to draw some really simplistic Fibonacci retracements here. We're going to look here, plot this right here and there. You can kind of see here the 618 lines up right or near around the 306 level, 305 level. We kind of need a breakout, and then our initial price target is around the 313 to 315 level, and then the downside support is falling in between the 50 and 38% retracement. Nothing too ideal there, but that 200 exponential in the past has held pretty strong here. Looking on a weekly side of the chart here, this is again showing quite a bit of a spin up, looking for potential winding up like a rubber band, potentially popping higher. That's our bet. And looking for lower downsides. Again, this is the 50 simple moving average, what I kind of use on a weekly chart to kind of signify support here. We can kind of see that red dotted teal line has kind of been support for some time, and that could be, again, for the downside support. If you want to trade this long term, buy a couple positions before earnings, and then if it goes lower, you can double down. Again, this is my opinions. Just be careful out there. So that is your Costco. Another one that you probably haven't traded before is American Tower Corp. And so these guys are the ones who install the cell towers throughout the United States and so forth, and other parts of the world. So this company has a pretty high dividend for its costs. It's trading at 242. The high was 260 here. It's kind of been easy steady Eddie, trading above the 89 exponential moving average and just kind of showing support on the weekly chart. It has been popping off, looking for there is no earnings in play currently, not until basically the end of what is this one, 7th, near August, so end of July. So it's kind of far off, so we don't have to be worried too much about earnings there. But this is going to be kind of your play on the 5G stuff, I believe. And this is kind of where people are putting their money into for that play. Since this one is going to be a little bit longer term, I'm going to be looking more on the weekly chart side of things. So we want it to stay above the 200 or the 21 exponential moving average, which is around $234. So we don't want to break that. And then we kind of want it to, of course, break higher, so we can go back down to the daily side, and we can draw some fibs here. So we can draw here from the previous swing high to the swing low. You can kind of see here this has popped off this past move. Basically, the other day on Friday, it closed up about $15, or about 6.5%. 6.25, popping up well above the 50% retracement, looking for overhead resistance at that 50% retracement, but more ideally at the 642 level, and then of course then from there it's going to be the 252 level. So this is going to be some overhead support there, or overhead resistance and support down below. Again, we see that support, then first line at 234, but we're going to have potentially stronger at 225 if something kind of comes back and test the lower part of here. Since the parabolic SAR is still below it, it could be potentially pushing higher. The volume oscillator could hit the yellow line and kind of bounce around, so we could be trading sideways in between the 240-ish level to 234 for some time until dividends or even earnings, unless there's something great news that pops off showing some really great potential, and of course when the 8 and 5 start crossing through the 21 for a potential kick higher. So that is wonderful AMT. So next one, we got 3 more left. We got EA. EA, everyone's at home, everyone's playing video games. This thing is looking for, again, a lot of these plays are for the long side. This is, again, another play for the long side. Currently not trading this one. You can kind of see here on the daily chart, it has been trading really nicely with the 21 exponential moving average, with the 5, 8, and 21 nicely stacked. Parabolic SAR showing strength. The 34 is also well there. And then you have the 50 simple moving average, and of course with the 200 exponential moving average. So this is a really nice pattern here with the moving average stacked. And let's make our way down the list. We have the RSI trying to kick higher. We have the volume oscillator above the yellow line, kind of trading in between the first green and the white line. So this is a great move as well. Again, it just hit an all-time high just last week, so this has been really a strong move for EA. I just wanted to kind of chart this out because I haven't done my homework much on this. So you can kind of see here, this is what I thought. So with the previous swing high to swing low, it hit its 172 retracement, which is a very attractive market for that. And then we're going to see a lot of support around the 21, which is around 116, all the way down to 115. So I'm just going to put a support line there. If it breaks that, again, keep it on somewhat of a short leash. I think this could be spooling up for some kind of announcement of some kind, or some great news due to the fact of a lot of momentum is in this, looking for a potential pop higher. That being said, we can kind of break this out. If you're longer term to a weekly chart, we can give you those fibs as well. I bet you that's going to hit around the 50% retracement. And on the weekly chart, it's hitting the 618 exponential moving average. Again, we need that to pop off some more. We have had a great move due to earnings and kind of a V-shaped bottom due to the overall pandemic, and now with everyone getting reintroduced to video games or just being stuck playing video games, it's kind of been a big trend in the market, and I think video games much more are going to stay, and more people are going to be trying it. So on the long-term side of things, for a potential break, long-term movement, we're looking for 200 and 134. Again, the all-time high is around 150, so that's not crazy unreasonable, but you can kind of see here some support if it breaks is 115, and then on, if you're a little bit more long-term investor, I'll be waiting for the 110 to 108 level there as well. So I know these are a lot of lines here. I just kind of draw these up here so you can pause the video and kind of write these down or put them on your charts while you're watching this video. All right, so that is EA. So we got two more left. We got Domino's Pizza. So that's DPZ. This is one we traded for earnings. Last time it didn't too hot, but we kind of held it, and it kind of came back a week or two later. We kind of got out of it for a basically small tiny profit, about $100. That was a blessing. But so DPZ is, again, Domino's Pizza. Everyone's at home, people are buying pizza, things like that. Once a lot of stay-at-home stuff is lifted, it could change their market. Looking for overhead resistance around the 385 level, with the 5 and 8 exponential moving average kind of getting tightly wound together. It's still closing above the 21 exponential moving average. It's showing some stress here on the top moving averages, not the 21 and 34. Haven't seen anything yet. But that being said, we're looking for a potential, if it breaks the 21, it's going to could be some serious downside potential. Again, we have dividends coming out in a couple of weeks. Again, we just had earnings, so we don't have to really quite worry about earnings. That being said, just be very mindful out there. Be careful with this one. This one is, again, a pretty highly priced stock at $372. So it's nothing. It's not like an NIO where it's, oh, excuse me, $3 stock where you can just throw in, buy 20 shares of it and just not and get a nice little return on it potentially. That being said, just be mindful of this. This thing does kind of move with high volatility due to it being a stay-at-home stock. We could be seeing some potential capitulation or sideways action. I'm going to put this alert right about here. I'm going to keep this on a short lease. I haven't decided on which way I want to go on this one yet. It kind of needs to prove it to me more. The 5 and 8 exponential moving average are kind of scaring me there a little bit. On the weekly chart, it's looking really strong. It really is. It's kind of like to look at the weekly chart to kind of give you a better perspective on long-term side of the trend, but you can kind of see here ever since the February earnings report, it's been kind of popping off, and then it hasn't really tested that since recent around 420, which is funny. And then looking for potential move higher, it's been trading above the 5 and 8 exponential moving average on the weekly chart, signaling a lot of upward momentum and so forth. I'm not seeing that much momentum upwards, but the RSI is just kind of flat here on the weekly. I forget what it was on the daily. It's kind of flat. It's kind of slightly elevated, but it's not curling up. The volume oscillator down here as well is looking at potentially bouncing in and around. So this could be signaling trading in between the 365 to the 375 level for some time until we get some better price action and the chart kind of tells us more. All right, last but not least is FRPT. So I traded this one way back in the day, guys. I bought this way back when it came IPO in 2015. I got squeezed the Hello Kitty out of it. I held it for this one earnings. I bought it like 16 or 17, yeah. And then it squeezed through, and I held it all the way down here. And then I think I dropped it around $9 or $10. I was like, I can't hold this pain anymore. I had like 100 shares, maybe 200 shares, and then if I just held it, that's long-term investing there, boys. So that being said, looking here on the daily chart, I'm actually looking for this one for potentially to break lower. That being said, with it kind of needs to prove it to me a little bit more. So the 8 and 5 kind of have crossed through the 21 already. So what we're going to be looking at, if it can break and close back above the 21 to prove that it's trying to remain above this and try to break out to go higher levels. The parabolic SARs are still trying to give it some support. We are seeing the momentum in negative. We're seeing the squeeze trying to pop lower. RSI has been flat. Volume oscillator could be bouncing off the yellow line to head to the first red line, potentially signaling further downside. If this thing does pop lower, we could be seeing some support coming in at a much lower level. We can kind of show that here. basically popping lower to the $65 price target. For if we get any downside movement. That would be initially the first kind of level, the 65 to 66 level. If it decides to start breaking lower and you see the 5 and 8 start curling over through the 21, and you kind of see the price action not being able to break above the 21, potentially for further downside. So that's kind of a simple one. So this is kind of sitting on my hands and waiting for this one. Again, this is my opinion. And potentially, again, these are just like swing trades. These are not investing in the sense, looking for a potential downside. If it breaks above the 21 and closes above it with some strength and some moving averages crossing into it, we could see some potential movement higher. But this is kind of just sit on my hands and wait to see until what the price action and what the overall market shows me. That being said, that wraps up the 7 wonderful swing trading ideas for long and short ideas. I greatly appreciate everyone watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're interested, we have a Patreon page down below to help support the channel, and that goes to, you get some awesome cool links on some cool watch list. I can share some charts with you, things like that. And of course, we have an awesome Discord you can join completely free down below, and I greatly appreciate it, guys. Take it easy and catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.